once I started to develop a better mindset about what I felt I was worth on a financial level, I then started to just have a better relationship with myself overall. My physical health got a lot better as a result of that. My relationships with my friends, family, boyfriends got a lot better as well. I went from being really overworked and really burnt out and really unhappy just in general to waking up every single day, happy, excited, looking forward to the day, looking forward to the work that I was doing, and just actually genuinely feeling a sense of fulfillment and positivity throughout the day.
This is Journey to Point B, where you can find success stories of people who have achieved the same goals you're striving for. I'm your host, Lucia, Csoma, and it's my hope that these stories will provide motivation for your own journey to Point B. Shyanne, welcome. So great to have you in my show.
Hello, it's so great to be here.
I'm looking forward to this discussion, Shyanne. And the reason is because we're going to talk about money goals, setting goals on how much money we want to make and achieving that. And why I'm so excited about this conversation is because I speak with a lot of people. And at times, or very often, I would say, there is this hesitancy to say, I do want to make a certain amount of money. I do have that goal. It's not because I am money oriented or that's the most important thing in my life, but knowing their value, they want to have this certain amount. And I know about you that very early in your career, you achieved the goal of earning 6 figures. So I want to ask you, Shyanne, can you bring us back to when did you started thinking about setting that goal? How did that all start?
Yeah, absolutely. So this was actually not too long ago. It was about 2 years ago, I would say, that I was just feeling very unhappy with where I was at financially. And, you know, as you mentioned, not a lot of people like to discuss their salaries or, you know, what their goals are in terms of their salaries, but it's something that I've always been very open and honest about. And I just knew that I was deserving of more, so to speak, and that there was more for me to enjoy in life, and that my skills and talents were very valuable. So I set the goal for myself to generate an income that would be over 6 figures, or at least 6 figures. And it took me a while to get there. It was primarily my mindset that kept me in a lower financial situation. And I realized that once I achieved the goal, because not much had changed in terms of who I was as a person other than my actual mindset and the strategy that I used to achieve that goal. So yeah, I was lucky enough to say by the time I was 25 that I was earning over 6 figures, and it's been great. So I love to share that information with anybody who is in a similar situation.
Congratulations. I think it's wonderful that you have discovered that. What's interesting and what stands out to me is the fact that you said that you discovered that you had the mindset issue after you have achieved your goal. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so I think that, as I mentioned, I always assumed that in order to have a higher income, I needed to work harder or develop more skills or obtain another degree. I was always thinking that there was something outside of myself that was going to lead me to that goal. And although I do think that those things are very supplemental in achieving your goals and being able to generate a higher income, and I did use them to support me in that endeavor, it's not what was the actual driving factor towards my success. It was the mindset that I developed of believing in myself, which sounds so cheesy and so cliche to say, but I truthfully, up to a certain point in my life, just did not believe that I was worthy of achieving a certain financial goal above what I had been making a few years ago. And once I started to realize that there is so much abundance in the world, and there are so many people out there who are earning tons of money doing a lot less work, or things that are very simple and very easy with a lot less education, I just started to really educate myself and surround myself in environments that are supplemental to growth and financial success and having a strong mindset, I guess I should say. And then I started to adopt these different practices to change my mindset about what I was worthy of and what I was capable of and what I'm worth, essentially, right? I mean, it's difficult to conceptualize, but our relationship with money is about our worthiness or how we feel about ourselves as an individual and what we deserve. So, yeah, as I mentioned, it wasn't until after I actually achieved the goal that I looked back on how I got there to try to understand it so that I could help other people and then take that into my next goal, right? That I realized it was not the certifications or the degree or anything. It was really just the narrative that I told myself, which I then embodied, and other people saw that, and that was reflected back to me. And then I was paid what I wanted to be paid.
Mindset. It's so important. Like our attitude towards reaching our goals. I would say that it starts with a mindset, with a good mindset. What are some areas that you feel have been affected positively by you realizing that mindset is what got you to this goal?
Yeah, I would say pretty much every area of my life has been positively impacted. I mean, once I started to develop a better mindset about what I felt I was worth on a financial level, I then started to just have a better relationship with myself overall. My self-esteem was improved tremendously. I think that my whole life, I always felt like I wasn't worthy of those things, and that just played a role in everything that I was experiencing. And so my physical health got a lot better as a result of that. My relationships with my friends, family, boyfriends got a lot better as well. My actual day-to-day life changed tremendously. So I went from being really overworked and really burnt out and really unhappy just in general to waking up every single day happy, excited, looking forward to the day, looking forward to the work that I was doing, and just actually genuinely feeling a sense of fulfillment and positivity throughout the day. And now I live a life that is, in my opinion, very luxurious, and very balanced. And I'm very fortunate. I get to have the flexibility to do what I want to do, live the life that I want to live, prioritize myself as much as I prioritize my work, which did not used to be the case. And I don't work as hard as I used to, which is the craziest part because, like I said before, I used to think that in order to become more and more successful financially, I was going to have to just work crazy hours and long days and, pull all-nighters to finish projects. Mm-hmm. But now I don't set an alarm. I work way less than I ever have, and I just live a really happy, comfortable life. So all of that is, really ties into where I realized that it is 100% mindset, and the mindset then laterals over into the actions that you take, which then brings you to your goals, which is amazing.
Talking about actions, what were some actions that you took when you were not yet making what you wanted to make to the point that you started making that, you reached your goal?
Yeah. So the way that I kind of strategized switching my mindset and being able to reach that goal is a little bit untraditional, depending on where you stand in the world of understanding how manifestation works and the law of attraction, which, if anybody watching this already knows me from LinkedIn, you know that I preach about the law of attraction like it's my job. I'm very passionate about the concepts and the scientific laws of the universe that tie into how we live our lives and how we operate, and therefore what we attract into our lives. So I spent a lot of time educating myself, like I mentioned, being mentored from, just YouTube videos and podcasts and things like that from people like Bob Proctor, Tony Robbins. Abraham Hicks is somebody that I'm really passionate about learning from as well. And these are all kind of like coaches or thought leadership individuals, if you will, that talk about ways to change your mindset. And so I first exposed myself to the teaching so that I could understand where I was getting in my own way. Then I started to understand, as a result of that, the self-limiting beliefs that I had. And so I would write them out on paper and do different exercises to eliminate those beliefs. So I became a crazy journaler, which sounds so silly, but I write every single day about my goals and about myself in an affirmative manner. So I write I am statements about who I want to become, whether or not I'm that person now and whether or not I believe those things. I write them out, and I do a lot of meditation, a lot of exercise to keep myself mentally balanced as well. and a lot of reading and learning. Like I said, education is a huge aspect to that, but I'd say journaling is one of the main components that was a huge catalyst to my growth, because the more that I was writing these things out about myself, such as my financial goals, and writing them out as if they had already happened, I actually started to believe them. And then in my meditations, I would visualize myself living that life, all the way down to the details of what my morning routine would look like, and the clothes that I would wear, and the things that I would do, and the food that I would eat. And it just started to actually become something that I could conceptualize and believe in. And then ultimately it manifested into my life, which was just the most amazing experience ever.
Mm-hmm. I learned more and more about the power of visualization. And I've heard now a lot of athletes that they say that they add visualization as part of their workout. Like one in particular said that she has 15 minutes in her calendar on a regular basis to just visualize a race that she never ever took before, but she knows the course, and that increases her success so much more. And I think now with what we know about neuroplasticity, that makes sense, that if we visualize it, if we come to believe it, if we come to believe that we can achieve it, then there are just a few things that can stand in our way. So I'm very glad that you brought that point, and you are an example that is possible. You mentioned mindset. On top of mindset, what would you say was another challenge that you had as you embarked on this journey?
Yeah, so really quickly, I just want to say that I'm really glad that you brought up the neuroplasticity element, because that is huge for people who have a hard time conceptualizing what the law of attraction is. Leaning into science is a great way to kind of demystify it, if you will. And Dr. Joe Dispenza is somebody that I've learned about that from, which is a great person to read about, to kind of understand how to do that. But I'd say that the biggest challenge besides my own limiting beliefs was honestly the beliefs of others. I think that I have always been the type of person that has really leaned on the people that I love for support. And I realized at some point in my journey that was actually not doing anything positive for me, because I was starting to adopt the beliefs and concepts that other people had about what is possible in life, and then internalize them and accept them as my own. And when you go up to somebody that doesn't have the same belief system as you, and you try to tell them about something that you're trying to accomplish, or a goal that you have, and they don't believe that it's possible, and they share that with you, it can be really defeating and really upsetting. And it can then make you question your own abilities and your own beliefs and things like that. So I started to become very introverted and very private, even with some of the closest people in my life, like my family and my best friends, because I just realized I can't expect everyone to believe in me the same way that I believe in me, and also believe in the possibilities of life the same way that I do. Everybody has a different background that then contributes to how they view the world. And I've just found that really staying quiet about your goals and about your accomplishments is a great way to help accelerate your path towards achieving those goals, because like I mentioned, you have way less noise coming in of, what if this happens, or what if I don't make it, or is this even possible? Who am I to think that I can accomplish it? Things like that. So just, being really private about what you're working on, I think is good, unless you know that you can trust somebody 100% that they won't rain on your parade, so to speak.
That's interesting. You make me reflect on the idea that we already need to deal a lot with our own insecurities. And especially when we embark on a journey to reach a goal that is challenging, that it's challenging even for us, maybe even we are intimidated by it, but we want to give ourselves a chance. If that it's not yet so solid, I think it's so wise to not yet make it public, to not allow other people to influence and stop us from that dream that we want to accomplish. What is another challenge that you had to overcome as you set up this goal that you want to make 6 figures?
I think settling is one of them, because there will always be times where you question whether or not the goal is achievable. And so then you might think that you should revert back and maybe accept an offer or an opportunity or something similar that does not align with the goal because, on paper, it has all these other elements to it that are really great. And it would be crazy of you to turn that down. But if you set it up so that it's just a make it or break it type of situation where you are not going to accept anything less than things that align with this goal, then that will help drive you towards achieving the goal a lot faster, as I mentioned. And for me, there was a lot of times where opportunities would come through that were not in alignment with the 6-figure offers, but they were great. And so I just assumed that, I should take them. And so I think it's just like in terms of actually identifying a challenge, not accepting anything less than what you deserve and not accepting anything less than the goal itself, because the universe will always test you is something that I've learned. It will try to test you and put things out in front of you that are not supportive or not indicative of the success that you're looking to accomplish or the experience that you're looking to have. And if you fall back into that, then it's really easy for you to then say, well, I just proved it to myself. This isn't possible, or I'm not worthy of that or whatever. And it's like, no, you are, but you just have to stay strong and stay focused. So I think, the best way to put it would be the focus is one of the biggest challenges, is just like having your eye on the prize and not letting anything get in the way, even if you think that, maybe you should veer off into this other opportunity, even though it's just a little bit less of what you wanted. Don't do it.
How did you overcome that challenge?
Honestly, a lot of it was trial and error. But aside from that, I pride myself on how disciplined I am in my personal development routine. So all of the things that I mentioned in terms of exercise, meditation, visualization, journaling, and educating myself, those are all things that I will not let my priority and my focus on those topics be diminished in any way, shape, or form. And so the more that I just stayed in that routine and stayed in those habits of, really strengthening my mental muscles and my physical muscles and everything in between, then it was easier for me to just keep that as a habit, I guess would be the best way to put it. It takes 21 days to form a habit. And so if you can at least do something for 21 days, it'll be a lot easier to then keep it for the long term. So that was definitely, I think, the biggest component to being able to stay focused, was just having, like I said, my eye on the prize and having something that I would put my energy towards every single day that had a direct relationship with the goal and how I was going to accomplish it. So setting time aside every single day, I think, is important, even when you don't want to, even on the weekends, even when you're hungover maybe, or you're not feeling well. It's obviously really challenging, but it will benefit you in the long run for sure.
That's really good. I'm so happy you're sharing that, because I think it's so important for someone that is walking on the same journey to hear this and to hear that there are challenges, and that people that are making a certain amount of money usually is not accidental. There is an intention, there is a hustle to get there, there is the grind period. But if you're steadfast, if you are committed to your goal, if you believe as much as you can in your goal and you move forward taking the action, then you can get there. Shyanne, if someone that is listening wants to reach this goal, wants to earn more, they know their value, they know they can reach more, but they're just afraid to take that step, maybe to say no to an offer that is a little bit less, and you were to mentor that person, what would you say to that person?
Well, the first thing that I would say is a quote that I saw one day back in 2018, before I was on this adventure, which is, dreams and goals are very easy to achieve. It's believing that is the hard part, which, again, I know a lot of the things that I'm mentioning sound really cliche, but it is so true, because once you actually achieve that first goal that maybe you did think that you would reach it, but it was just a far out of reach goal for what you're comfortable with and what you believe in, you then realize that it was never the path of getting there that was the challenge. It was overcoming the self-limiting beliefs and the paradigms that you have instilled and so deeply rooted within your subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind is a program that operates very intensely and controls so many aspects of our life that we're not aware of. And so that's the first thing that I would say to them, truthfully. And that would be the most important thing that I would say to them at the end of the day. Although it's very little context, it is the bread and butter of all of the success that people have. And that's something that I've learned from all those mentors that I mentioned, or just people in general that have a lot of success. You'll see that's a common theme, is that they talk about how their mindset and overcoming their own negative self-talk and self-doubt was the ultimate challenge above all else. So I would tell them not to accept the lower offer, because there will be a better one around the corner as a result.
And yes, that knowledge that our self-talk is the most important talk that we can have, because ultimately that's the voice that we listen. And based on how much we believe that voice, based on everything we tell ourselves, those are the actions that we would take. So you highlighting that if you have negative self-talk, it's hard to get to where you might dream of getting, but changing that, not accepting that as a truth, because our thoughts, like we have millions of thoughts in our brain, they are not true. Not all of them are true. And
Yep.
I appreciate you sharing your story. What I love about it and what stands out to me is first setting that goal. And very likely, so from what you're saying, it seems like it was a goal that seemed unachievable. It was an audacious goal. And what you did, you decided to embark on it, to believe in it, even when you didn't believe, through affirmations, learning that is possible to you. And not learning because just the universe hit you with inspiration, but also that there was proof in the world, that you followed mentors, you learned from other people that it is possible. And therefore, if it's possible for other people, it's possible for you. And if you manifest that in your life and you walk the journey, you take the steps, then you can get there. I want to thank you for sharing that with us. Shyanne, what is the goal that you're currently working towards?
It is kind of a crazy one, but I am working to manifest a very large sum of money, preferably in the form of maybe winning the lottery or something that is easy for me to believe is possible. But that is something that I have just recently decided to set for a goal for myself, is just to come into like a very large, unexpected sum of money, because believing that is possible is something that challenges me tremendously. But I have heard and learned from people about how it's possible time and time again. So I'm just right back where I started in terms of reaffirming that it's possible, and doing my exercises and doing my routine to get myself in a mindset to where I'm open to possibilities and open to receiving. So I will keep you posted on that. I might go out and buy a lottery ticket one of these days if I'm feeling confident.
Yes, please keep me posted when that happens. And when we're going to record another episode, how did that happen?
Yeah, we will. I'm excited for it.
Shyanne, if anyone from the listeners would love to learn more about you, possibly connect with you, what would be the best way for them to do so?
Yeah, LinkedIn is probably the easiest way to connect with me. However, if anybody wants my contact information, you're more than welcome to share my email or my phone number with them as well. But I'm very active on LinkedIn, and I message people if they reach out to me on there at any time. So definitely would be more than happy to connect and share some insights and wisdom to anybody who is in a similar boat, because I definitely want more people to experience this type of success and happiness.
Yes. Thank you. I will add that information in the show notes as well. And again, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for being open. Thank you for being vulnerable. And just thank you for sharing your wisdom in how you reach this goal. And I wish you all the best in earning that lump sum of money with not a lot of effort. And I cannot wait to receive that message to say that became possible for you. Thank you.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me. It's been great to be here and very much an honor to be speaking with you. So thank you so much.
I hope this episode gave you some inspiration for reaching your goals. If you found it useful, please hit the subscribe button. This will help me bring you more inspirational stories to support your own journey to point B. Thank you.